Hi everyone, it's Carrie over at Double Click. Welcome back to my craft room. Today I'm going to be doing a work in progress project share. I'm currently working on a baby album for my first grandbaby. I am super excited. I wanted to record what I've done so far because I'm about ready to take a step in the album that I might mess it up, and I want to record what I've done so far. I decided to use this thick cardboard. This I think was a sheet set, and it's like 8 3/4 by 9 inches. It has a really nice spine, nice and wide, and I thought this was going to be a great way to start my album. At first I thought I was going to leave the flap on, but I'm undecided, so it's on there for now, but I think I'm going to be chopping that off. Originally, what I decided to do was, because the pages are long and the album's long, I started building the inside of the book. I started creating the spine to match the inside of the spine. I worked for quite some time figuring this out because I had to extend the pages to make them long enough. So I started building them on top of each other, layering them and making pockets. And I realized, hey, wait a minute, this is not going to work right because I am just going to forever have this large space inside of this album, and that's not going to work. So the next day I said, okay, I'm going to have to do signatures, but I did not want to get rid of what I've already done. So I decided to leave these pages nice and long, and they can put photos and memory pieces in here. So I'm gonna stitch this into the album like its own signature. I'm gonna do one on this side and one on this side to keep it in place. And then I made the signatures. I made 2 of them, and this is the base of them. The baby stacks that I was using, they weren't double-sided, so I had to glue the papers back to back. And I started putting in pockets, I started putting in tags. What I decided to do in each signature was make the top of every single one a pocket. So I only glued the sides and the bottom. So this is one page, and I just folded it in half. And I glued 2 different pattern papers to it, and the top is just 2 large pockets. So I went on my Cricut and created these large tags that are also pockets. Each tag has a pocket so they can slip photos or notes, and I'm going to be putting monthly cards in each one. So anything that they would like, there's plenty of room. I did decide to leave the backs blank. So here's the first signature. The tags fit right in the top. And I will be putting ribbons and trims on these so that they stick out from the top of the album. Each one of these pages will have one of these big tags. I did create 2 of these. Let me first show you the rest of the tags. I used 2 different paper pads from the Paper Studio, and I will show that when the album is complete. But the papers are so cute. I think both collections went really well together, and I'm happy with how it's turning out so far, but I'm definitely nervous about getting ready to make the cover. So those are the tags. This is the first signature, and this is the second one, but actually I think that's going to be reversed. This will be the front page. I did the exact same design. I glued the papers together, back to back, glued the edges, and I did go through and staple every single page together so that if the glue ever came undone, the pages would still stick together. Added tabs on every couple of pages. I did side pockets as well as the bottom pockets, started putting in little envelope pockets. And so that's the second signature. What I'm going to do is take my initial start of the book, and I am going to bring it down a little bit lower from the top because I do want to do a big eyelet for some charms to go down the side. I'm going to put this in as a signature, and then I'm going to put these in the middle like that. So when the book closes, that's now going to be the middle of the album. And I figured a year album, so there's more than 12 pages in here. I think there's 14 or 16 just in these. And let me show you what I've done also. I watched a video from Johanna. She showed how to bind signatures in. So I followed her tutorial. I do have some mistakes on here, but I went back and figured it out. But I'm going to use this as my template, and I'm going to bind this part to the edges and then bind each signature here so that there's room in the middle for expansion, and I think that's going to work. I hope it's going to work. I'm nervous about messing up all of this work. I went to Joann's and I found this material. I don't even know what this is. I don't know if it's called Pellin. I'm not sure, but it's a really soft, thin material. I'm going to line the cover with this first, so that is kind of soft on the outside. And then I picked this fabric with this sweet deer and the sweet little squirrel. This matches a lot of the papers that I used, so I'm going to give this a try. I think I got a full yard of it in case I mess it up. I'm hoping that I don't. I've never done one of these this way before. I'm going to cover it with this, you know, the cover with this, and then with this, to hopefully make a soft outer album cover. And once it's covered, I'm going to sew in the signatures. I'm hoping that I'm not gonna mess that up. I keep reminding myself if this is a paper project and it's not meant to be perfect, and that's what makes it homemade. So I'm going to figure it out. Now I'm going to go ahead, and my next step is to get the cover made, and then I'm going to start my signatures, and then I will be back when that is complete. And once the book is stitched in, I'm going to go back and start adding in the cards, the journal pockets, the tags, and the decorations. When I come back, you hopefully will see this as a beautiful cover. Okay, well, I'm back, and I wanted to show the next stage of the album that I'm in. I ended up covering the cardboard cover with the fabric as well as the soft material that I showed earlier. I used liquid glue to adhere it to the cardboard. I used the aqua mono glue, and then I also used the art glitter glue to make sure it would stick. This is how the cover came out. I'm really happy with it. I think it looks really nice. On the inside, I did use some chipboard and I covered it with coordinating scrapbooking paper. I did put my tie in between. And for this area, I also used both liquid glues and I used the red line tape to make sure that it actually stays in place. And it does seem like it's pretty secure. And so that is the inside cover. What I ended up doing was I bound my longer pages in first because the spine was the same size as the cover spine. And it's definitely not perfect. I bound this section in first, right here. And then I went back and I bound in my signatures, 2 of them. And then this is the binding from this part. So this is how the outside cover ended up coming out. And I will link the tutorials that I watched to figure out how to do this. I did use a template to try and get these as even and as straight as possible. But when I punched my pokey tool through this fabric, it just made the hole disappear. So I had to keep re-poking the tool even after I removed the template. So I think because of the fabric made it a little bit more difficult, so it's not exactly perfect. For being handmade and my first time, I think that it came out super cute. I am still thinking I want to put a giant eyelet in here and then hang charms off of it. Where I'm at right now is now that everything is bound in, they're in pretty tight. There's room for them to expand. I'm going to start the decorating process. I will be back when that is complete. I'm so excited to be back with the completed baby album that I made for my first granddaughter. This project was definitely out of my comfort zone, and I'm so happy that I took the time to watch some videos, and I will link them down below, of how I learned how to do the stitching of the signatures on the side, as well as the dangle, and then as well as how to do the cover. And I will leave Johanna and then Paper Terrace. I will leave their channels linked down below on how I learned how to do this. And this definitely did not come out perfect, but for my first try and for it being made of paper, I'm really happy with how it came out. I started out with just a piece of recyclable cardboard. I'm going to show you the cover, which is fabric, and then I have a soft material underneath it. I did decide to go with the gray roses for my closure. My favorite part is this stitching. I did use a template, and even though I used a template, it still didn't come out exactly even, and that is because when I poked the awl through the fabric, it didn't stay where I could see the hole, so I had to keep going back and then trying to feed the needle back through it, and so that did come out a little bit off. but I still think it's okay because I was able to cover most of it with the charm that I used. I did put an eyelet on the side. I did not think that I was going to be able to go through how thick the book was, but it just barely made it. I did some wrapping of the strings with knots to keep them in place. And then I threaded all of these fun charms. I have 4 strings and I added tons of beads and charms to each one. And I think it came out so super cute. And I do have her name over here. I'm just gonna keep that private. But that is the side. I love it so much. It just looks amazing. And I think it came out so good. Showed in the beginning of the video, the cover and the first couple of pages are longer than my signatures. I didn't want to waste any of the work that I had already done. This is the inside cover. I used chipboard and pattern paper to cover the inside cover. I have her name here. I decided to cover that up. These are the larger sizes with pockets, and then I have lots of fun tags and cute note cards tucked in all little spots, so they can use the backs for journaling or photos or whatever they would like. I left these blank for photos with dad and mom. I made them into pockets so they could put additional information written about the photos. And more cards on the side. This is what I ended up doing. I ended up stitching in my original design on the first stitch and then also on the back. And it did leave this space, but because my signatures ended up being so thick, it's not actually as noticeable as I thought it might be. And then these are my 2 signatures that I also stitched in. I made each page a large pocket. I sealed up the sides and the bottom, and I did staple every side. I wanted to make sure it would last forever, and every page of my signatures has a pocket for a large tag. And I did leave some of them with no ribbon because the book started getting super bulky. I did put a tag in every single one, and then they can pull them out if the book gets really too big once they start adding stuff. Every page is decorated with pockets and then lots of journaling cards, and they can switch them out or not use them when they start adding in their own things. I have lots of baby ephemera in my stash. Putting this together was a lot of fun. I made a little pocket envelope here and more pockets over here. Little quotes and a welcome little one. I did put some tabs on like every other page. I was able to use a lot of my Project Life cards that I had in my stash. I pulled the pink ones and ones that I thought would go with the book. And I ended up using 2 paper collections, both from the Paper Studio, the Hobby Lobby brand. I think they came together really well. I love how it turned out. I did leave the middle of this signature with no pockets so they can put larger photos on these pages. This is a little bag, and I did make it into a journaling tag on the inside. And I did a higher belly band. The cards just slide in and out. I tried to add clips to every page. That's the end of the 2 signatures, and then this is where I bound in the other part of my original idea. So these pages are nice and large. I made this one into a big pocket. I did some side pockets. And in the back, this is a little bag with another tag. The only thing that I will be adding is my Handmade with Love, and I will sign that and put the date, and that will go right down there. For the closure, I did on this side the same with the gray roses. And then the back is the same as the front. And that is the album that I've created for my first granddaughter. I love how it turned out. I hope that they will love it so much. I cannot wait to see what they do with it. With this, I'm also including a set of month cards. They're numbered 1 through 12. I'm going to keep them separate so she can put them in anywhere that she would like to, and that's going to go with this album. I do want to show real quick, this is how I primarily make my albums. They are about like 5 by 5. Do always keep lots of tags and journaling pieces, and then we have tuck spots in all of the open bags that I've used. We have some acetate, lots of places for photos, journaling, and to record memories. And this album is currently listed in my Etsy shop if anyone is interested. I think that they are both adorable. I am super excited that I went outside my comfort zone and tried to create something that is new and something that I have not tried before, and I love it so very much. I thank you guys so much for stopping by, and have a great day. Bye guys.